You are listening to CrossTalk, a safe place to discuss addiction, recovery, harm reduction, and everything in between. Support for this podcast comes from the Kentucky Opioid Response Effort and Advocates of Recovery. Content and production by the team at Turning Point Recovery Community Center. Now, buckle up and get ready for the show.
Welcome everyone to CrossTalk Recovery, the recovery podcast that supports all forms of recovery. I'm Matt Lewis, and I'm here with
Cameron Birkin,
Nathan Brockett,
Nikki Randolph.
Welcome you all. I'm glad you guys are here. I know how much you want to be here.
So much.
Cameron and Nikki are our friends, and they work at the Purchase District Health Department. Mm-hmm. So they're not only our friends, they're our community partners. Yep. We've been working a lot alongside you guys more recently as you guys have been preparing for this new hub that's going to be opening up, right? Mm-hmm. So we wanted to have you guys on to kind of not only talk about that, which is important, and some of the other ways that we've been working together, but also to hear a little bit of, get to know you guys a little better. You know, Nikki, I've known longer than Cameron because Nikki is also in recovery, and Cameron thinks he's better than us because he's not in recovery. Is that right?
No, Cameron is a great advocate for us.
No, I like giving Cameron a hard time. What's great about it is anybody who listens to this podcast knows that I love people giving people a hard time.
Oh, yeah.
And Cameron takes it well and gives it right back. So we hit it off right away.
Absolutely.
Which is good. But yeah, Nikki, you want to start us off? Tell us a little bit about your pathway through recovery, what you feel like sharing, and what got you into working where you're at today.
Well, first off, I work as the peer support specialist for the Purchase District Health Department. I have almost 3 years in recovery. I'm an advocate for MAT. I went through 3 years of MAT myself, and I just want to help people the way that people helped me along my journey.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome.
That's what we're supposed to do, right?
Yeah.
In recovery is give back and help people. And you know, I know that you've also worked at StepWorks for a little while.
Yes.
And you also work for YPR.
Yes. I'm also the Paducah chapter lead for young people in recovery.
Yeah. So you've got your hands a little bit of everything. You've dove in, you know, and I love that, you know, because that's what I do. I'm busy. Not only do I work at Turning Point, but also, you know, sponsoring and volunteering my time through community outreach and stuff like that. I just try to stay as busy as possible and put some positivity back in the world and help some other people.
Right.
So,
yeah. You know what I think is cool too when I think about it? When you think about the health department, you see, medical stuff, immunizations and stuff like that. And it's so much more than that when you peel the layers back. You know, there's such big advocates for people like us in recovery. You know, they got the opioid task force, so many different things they do, all these being members of all these different coalitions that's all geared towards assisting people like us.
Yeah.
And some of these people aren't even in recovery. Just kidding. Being advocates, that's important. That's what we need as people, you know.
We need more of it.
Absolutely.
You know?
And the fact that you guys are like the hub for, you know, all things health related, community health, all things like that, it makes it that much better that you guys offer these harm reduction and recovery services for folks that are struggling. Because a lot of people, you know, they know what Turning Point is. You know, that's all fine and dandy, but now not only do they have Turning Point, they got the harm reduction hub, they got all these different places they can go to and receive all these different types of services, Narcan, all that stuff. You know, it's like a one-stop shop you guys got, and I just think it's awesome. Just having that extra layer for people. You can never have enough support. You know,
yeah. Absolutely.
And I'll go ahead and introduce myself. I'm Cameron Birkin. I'm the project manager of the Purchase District Health Department. So like Matt said, I'm not in recovery, but I do like to take my part in advocacy. So I've always been a little advocate ever since, you know, I was growing up. Mm-hmm. So just getting involved in different volunteer programs and then all these different advocacy stuff that's going on in the world. I want to take part of it. So started doing my projects in college. I was a public and community health major. Started doing my projects around Narcan and harm reduction and substance use disorder because I kind of have some family history with substance use disorder. So that was my why, I guess.
Awesome.
Why I want to be into harm reduction. And so just figured I would do all my projects and speeches and presentations over Narcan, just education around it. Just that was super important, just reducing that stigma and just educating people.
Where'd you go to college at?
Murray State's
Cool.
University, Murray, Kentucky.
Did you find when you were doing those things, the advocacy, the information sharing with everyone, did you find that a lot of people didn't really know what Narcan was or the concept of harm reduction?
Yeah, so I still think that's a big issue. It's just people don't really know what Narcan is, or if they do, they don't really know more than just the basics, which is important, but I think it's kind of important to know the ins and outs, the more details about it, and what the conversation around Narcan entails. So like fentanyl, education, overdose signs and symptoms, and just everything else.
Awesome.
Yeah, I mean, that's a huge part of what we do, at Turning Point. Also, I know that's what you guys are doing. The Narcan trainings we're doing in the community, the, dispensing Narcan. I think it's more people know about it now than ever.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I mean, I know I've been doing some door knocking with Sam, and we'll go to, like a nice neighborhood, and they'll be like, oh yes, I know, I've seen this on the news, or I've heard about it, and how do you use it? People are more aware, and so that's a good thing, and that shows that we're doing our job, right? That we're getting the word out there, because any life saved is a life, that could change. So that's our goal. And I didn't know that about you, Cameron, that, you had some, family struggles, and that's kind of what geared you in that way. And that's now I feel bad about it. But no, that motivation that pushed you in this right way. And now here you are, trying to help and using what affected you as a child to prevent that from affecting other people.
Yeah, I think what helped out a lot, too, was in college, whenever I was doing the presentations and PowerPoints, we kind of had free reign over what we wanted to talk about. And so just having that ability to just kind of talk about whatever I wanted to whenever other people were talking about, different medications or something else that could be happening in the world with public health. It's very broad. So I guess that was what helped me kind of gear what I wanted to do.
That's awesome.
In the future.
Yeah.
It's cool.
It's really cool.
Yeah. I appreciate your advocacy for sure. And, every bit helps, of course, but having somebody that has that passion and that why behind it makes it that much better. I do have a question. So, run us through what the hub is about. So I know a few of us know what goes on in the ins and outs of what the hub's for, what they do. Would you mind kind of running us through what all it entails?
I'm going to let Cameron do this one.
Okay. So we officially opened August 19th, but before that we started doing a soft launch June, July-ish. We were talking about it during our coalition meetings, just saying that if anybody needed to send any clients over to us, we were more than willing to. And so that kind of helped us along the way to figure out what worked out best for the community and what worked out best for us and the clients that we served. So kind of figured out how quickly word spreads too, because the community kitchen, word of mouth was the best referral for us, and so everything started going around there at the community kitchen. So that's how we got more clients coming in. But ever since then, we've started doing peer support specialist meetings, recovery coaching. We do hygiene, wound care, Narcan bags. And then we screen everybody that comes in, of course, for substance disorder. And if they meet a certain criteria, we can do more in-depth services. So we're trying to meet the different gaps that are in the community, such as rural areas. So the big rural problems are going to be transportation, food insecurity, and housing. So we can only do so much, but a little bit can be life-changing for somebody, and they can start their recovery journey. So more in-depth services. Regarding transportation, we can provide some gas vouchers or bus vouchers to certain people that are enrolled and active in our recovery support services.
They just have to come see me once a week and sit down and have some peer support.
Awesome.
Yeah.
And then we can also do some backpacks. We wanted to make sure everybody was seen, because we know some people like to drive crazy. And so each backpack has a reflective strip.
Yeah.
And then we can do some more hygiene stuff too. So
Awesome.
And we also have safer injection kits available to people who are still in active use. We don't have the syringes, but we do have everything besides the syringes. We have cookers and the tourniquets and clean cottons to help lower the risk of HIV and Hep C transmission.
And those will only be given out at the McCracken Health Center, and no syringes.
Right. So. Understandable.
Yeah.
Understandable. And you guys do provide HIV and Hep C testing on site, right?
Yes.
Cool. Yeah, and so a big incentive for that is the solar panel chargers with a flashlight on it as well. So we kind of got overran by those in the beginning.
Yeah.
So people were just thinking that we were giving them out, which it's not like we weren't, but we kind of had to get a hold on it because they're going a little bit quicker than we expected. So we provided those as an incentive for getting tested, and so
awesome.
It's a big ordeal to know your status and if you can get treatment or when you can get treatment for it, and how easy it is to treat it or cure it.
Right. That sounds like a one-stop shop, man.
We'll be right back.
Every day, an average of 130 people die from an opioid overdose.
Opioid overdose is the leading cause of death among adults 50 and younger in the United States.
Naloxbox helps save the lives of overdose victims, and there are now over 600 units installed nationwide, but we can do better.
Each unit increases access to naloxone, it reduces the stigma that's often associated with opioid overdose, and it works to save lives one box at a time. We hate that there are so many places in this country that need naloxbox units, but the truth of the matter is there are still so many more that need them. Although rescue should not be the only strategy used to address this epidemic, it remains a very important one. You have the chance to improve victim outcomes and the chance to reduce overdose deaths. Whether you're in the private or public sector, you can make a statement that you care. You can install a naloxbox, and you can help us save lives.
A lot of stuff that a lot of people, and you're impacting the community, no doubt about it. I mean, these are things, people might not necessarily feel comfortable coming to Turning Point all the time, but the health department and being in the area that you guys are in, you're all located by lower income housing, things like that. I mean, it's just a little skip from where a lot of these people probably reside or don't have a safe home, and y'all are able to give them things that they probably wouldn't, get anywhere otherwise, or people might shame them for needing these things.
Yeah, and another thing that we do intentionally to kind of reduce that barrier is do community events. So at these community events, we do Narcan bags. So there's going to have fentanyl testing strips, Narcan, of course, the Terra bags, which is how you properly dispose of unused or extra medication, and then just some educational material. So we take those to community outreach events. We do wound care supplies and hygiene kits as well that go out with us. So I always be sure to tell everybody that comes in, we'll be at this event this weekend or this week. We'll be here and there, just so that, it reduces the stigma of coming into the health department, because we know, some people might just not want to show their face there, too. Right. So just letting them know that we'll be out in the community kind of eases that barrier. Yeah, too.
Sure.
It's cool.
It's great, man, and it's, it's a lot of what we do, a little bit different, some of the stuff, but the more the merrier, right? The more people doing it, the more partners we have in the community that are trying to get this information out there and help these people, the more ground we're going to cover. So, and I love that there's other people, not just us, that are we were on a call the other day with different community partners, and I just love being on there and seeing the support in the community and us coming together and talking and trying to figure out problems to help people. It's a beautiful thing, man. That's why we're a recovery-ready community, because we work together. And one of the other ways that we work together is we do our monthly OD MAPS review, right? Yeah. So we try to target areas where overdoses have been higher, and that's where we go do our outreach, do our door knocking, set up the van, distribute Narcan, and because it's focused. We got to be smart about this, and try to reach the areas that are in need most, right?
100%. It just the shift of how things were before we started doing that to how things are now has just been massive. We are actually impacting these areas that are struggling. And it's, more often than not when we go, and you guys have probably been there going door knocking and stuff like that, where you run into people like, oh yeah, I heard that person had an incident. Now that conversation's starting. You get Narcan in their hands, and it's like in a radius of people where the incident occurred, they have Narcan, so there's a potential they might be able to help. And just the fact that it's not almost like just a wide range of, well, I don't know if we can, make it in this area. We've got pinpointed direction of where to go now. It's more intentional. It's good that everybody gets Narcan, cool, but when we're able to actually find where the problems are happening, because I don't know about y'all, but when we do this, it's like a cluster almost every time. Almost every time there's a cluster of this stuff going on. They're all in an area of one another, and hopefully, with these efforts, somebody might be able to survive. That's, we can't stop people from using. But, the best thing we could do is, keep people alive long enough. As you said, one person alive is another chance to recover. And it's been such a valuable resource.
Yeah, and I'll explain what Nathan's kind of talking about, because I don't really know if we talked about it. But ODMAP, it's a software that the health department has, but the only people that have access to it are the health departments, EMS, and then I want to say sheriff's departments. But we collaborate with Turning Point to kind of go over this data, and it gives an approximate location of a suspected overdose. So it doesn't give, pinpoint location or anything, but just a radius on the map. And so we go out to the different counties that the health department serves and the Turning Point serves, and go door knocking, or we'll set up a table at wherever that is, the county is. But yeah, we do lots of door knocking, and that's whenever people are able to let down their guard. And they share their story with us, and lots of that is also education too. So like you were saying, some of the counties are a little bit underserved, so they might not be as educated about what Narcan is or how to use it. So it's really easy to administer Narcan. It's just a couple-minute trainings. So just getting it in the right hands and the hands of everybody in the community is just life-changing.
Right.
Yeah.
Agreed.
Yeah, and we're starting to develop better relationships with health departments in these other counties too, and work together with them, because like I've said, the more of us working together on the same goals, like getting on the same page, like this is what we need to be doing in this area, we're going to accomplish a lot more, than every health department just trying to do their own thing and not sure what everyone else is doing. It's a team. It's a team effort that it's going to be more successful, right? Yeah. So really trying to focus on building those relationships moving forward, and I think it's going to be great. It already has been great. So,
as I said, it's really cool that it's just so much more than just a place where you go get shots or where you go get permits to serve food, things like that. The health department just does so much, and then thankfully they're in our corner now. It's awesome to have the expertise that comes along with the folks at the health department. Caitlin, she's a powerhouse in this stuff, man. Big advocate for people like us, and she works really well, allowing Turning Point to assist in all of this. Us being great partners for our QRT team, because QRT at its inception was tiny. There wasn't too much going on. We was out here just beating the streets, trying to get referrals from people, and now we can go to these folks. They don't even have to call for us. We can go to them and find them, and hopefully make an impact, because that rural stuff, sometimes it gets a little dicey, because sometimes a lot of people don't want to talk to us. But being able, as you said, just being intentional with this kind of stuff and just putting Narcan in and telling people about it. Because I was blown away at some of the events that I've been to. Some people would still shy away from Narcan. Like people still don't understand. It's just a nasal spray.
Yeah,
it's not a shot in the leg or something anymore.
So, you just don't know, and that's why we're trying to educate them. We're doing the trainings. We're letting them know it's safe. It only facilitates breathing. We're trying to save lives. And hopefully, as this continues to grow, the hub grows, they see the success of this in the community, we'll get to the point of being able to have syringes and other helpful things in this community, But, it's a work in progress, and we're working towards it together.
Yeah, together.
I'll talk about a couple other things that we've kind of want to do in the future. So we do have a telehealth monitor that we haven't gotten it going, but we hope to kind of use that for people to work on resumes or do job searching, or do any like telehealth medicine appointments as well.
Yeah.
We've also started doing the Fulton County Advisory Board. That Nikki is going to start doing YPR meetings once a month starting this month.
Starting tomorrow.
Tomorrow night at 4:30.
So we've been meeting with different people in Fulton County. So the people that made up the advisory board are people that were in active use, have family in active use, or they're in recovery, correct?
Yes.
Okay. So we've been meeting. We've already met twice, and so just getting feedback from them and just seeing what's going on in Fulton, what's working, what could work for them. So yeah, we've been doing that, and so they found a need that there was a need for YPR meetings, and so Nikki is gonna start doing that too. So.
Awesome.
Awesome.
Heck yeah.
We'll be right back.
Hey y'all, did you know it's illegal to own just one guinea pig in Switzerland because they get lonely? Here at Turning Point, we don't want you to ever be lonely either. That's why we're open 7 days a week from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. Always feel free to come hang with our friendly staff, and don't forget your guinea pig. We're located at 415 Broadway Street, downtown Paducah.
Hello, everybody. You want to know something? My biggest issue with meetings is, despite their name, they are never about me. Here at Turning Point, all of our meetings are for you and about you. We have meetings at least 3 times a day, 7 days a week. We are located at 415 Broadway, Paducah, Kentucky. Call 270-444-3621 for more information.
Can we talk about the elephant in the room? that Nathan and Nikki are actually in a relationship, and they have a son, a beautiful son together.
Yeah.
And have been for a couple years now.
Yeah.
And so it's cool that, you know, like I was joking with them before the podcast, they're kind of like a recovery powerhouse together, working in different areas, but you know, we're working together too. So it's great to see that. What's that like from your guys' perspective? Do you guys go home and say, we're not talking about recovery all night?
Oh no, it's great. It's great.
Yeah,
we live our recovery whenever we go home just as much as we do whenever we're at work. You know, we both care about recovery. You know, it's because without recovery, we wouldn't have what we have together.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a fact. And, you know, it makes it easier. You know what I mean? It makes it easier to go through because, let's just be honest, if you work in this field, there's a certain bit of yourself that you give away. You know what I mean? There's that potential for burnout. There's that sometimes you get them questions of why I'm doing this. But then I always have that person to remind me. You know what I mean? So it's kind of nice. And then just as for the being that much more effective, you know, she's the YPR chapter lead, and I can be there too. You know what I mean? I can do those kinds of things. It's just, like I said, it makes it easier for me to continue putting as much as I put into this, because I do put a lot into this, and like it's meaningful to me, you know. So it's pretty awesome, and watching one another grow in our recovery too, take on more responsibilities, going out and doing these things in the communities and things that we thought we would. As a person that has a substance use disorder, I never thought I'd be a face for what recovery might be or something like that, and then getting to see my partner do that, it's awesome. It solidifies a lot of times why I do what I do. It just keeps just building and compounding. It's pretty nice. And our little boy's awesome. He's pretty cool. He's a good little guy. So.
Plus, you can always be like, you need to take a look at that.
I hear that all the time.
Yeah,
I hear that all the time. Just so much. And I'm like, no, I don't. Yeah, there's nothing wrong with me.
Right. Yeah, that would be fun. I'm getting ready to get married.
Yeah, let's talk about that elephant in the room.
In a week and a half, and she is not in recovery, so I will not be able to pull out any of the lingo. You need to go to a meeting. Won't be able to say that.
10-step that miss.
Yeah, but it's great. You know, the blessings of recovery. Are amazing, man.
Look how much life changes for you. Getting married, you know, having children, being, you know, building a home together, things like that. You know, those were gone a few years ago. That was never going to happen. No. And, no way. And here I am enjoying the crap out of it. And it's been awesome. I don't really have another word to describe it except for awesome. And the friends I made, things like that. You know, Cameron being the advocate that he is, you know, I like when people that aren't in recovery help people like us. Like, it means so much to me.
Yeah, seeing like him, like, you know, police officers that you like, we, you know, and the madness, we didn't like police officers much. But just seeing that there are some really good people that work in our police force and care, you know. I mean, QRT was Dan Malloy was started. He was an ex-police officer. So, you know, there are people that care. And like you said, man, 4 years ago, when I was right before I started to get sober, I thought I'd done everything in my life that was ever going to matter. Like, I thought my life was over, and you know, and 4 years later, it just continues to grow and get better. It's like, can't believe what I would have missed out on if I hadn't have, you know, by the grace of God, got put in center point and given the willingness to keep trying to do this, you know, and getting to meet all of you all, man. It's a great experience, and then all the lives that we're affecting and changing, you know. I mean, I'm humble about it, but we are making a difference.
Oh, yeah.
You know? A big difference. Like, we just had that Overdose Awareness Day a couple days ago, and it was a beautiful event, and it puts a lot of things in perspective, you know. You see people there crying because they've lost someone, and you see people there crying because they're still alive and they have a chance at, you know, happiness and trying to help other people and what that means to them. So it was a really beautiful event, and, you know.
Yeah, that was actually my first time being there. So I had seen it last year, just like photos, because that's whenever I was in school. So I was doing different projects, and so stumbled across Turning Point. And then I actually used one of your podcasts to write a story just to get some, like, ideas going.
That's like, oh, man!
You're welcome. You know?
Probably didn't cite its sources or nothing.
Where's I going with that? But yeah, stumbled across Turning Point and just saw what they were doing. So yeah, just seeing that event was neat.
How does it make you feel now being a part of those types of things, the changes, the success stories and things like that? How does that make you feel to be like an actual integral part of those things?
Yeah, so good question. It feels good, but where's I going with that? It feels good.
It does?
Yeah.
Awesome. Does it, you know, when you do what you do after you've been through all this school and all of that stuff, does it still feel like, hey, this is what I'm supposed to be doing? Because I think all of us are, like, in that position now where it's like, hey, I feel what I'm doing. I feel like this is what I'm going to be doing.
Yeah, so with, like, public health, I always knew I was going to be, like, talking in front of people. And, like, I hate doing that, but
you do it well.
Just because I'm an introvert. But I think just the big part was just making sure that everybody knew what Narcan was and everything about it that goes around it, because it doesn't affect just one certain population. Like, I think some people kind of have this idea, or preconceived connotation that, you know, it only affects a certain group of people.
Right.
In reality, it doesn't.
Not true at all.
Just making sure that everybody, no matter what. I probably didn't even answer that question.
No, you did. It makes sense.
I have a tendency to.
You're a flag bearer for those people that don't have a voice. Yeah. You know what I mean? You're out here making sure that people understand that there is hope, that there is a way, and that unfortunately, substance use does not discriminate. Mm-hmm. There's no doubt about it. You know, there's no set amount of people that won't be affected by this. Families of those folks that are affected. It reaches so many people. It's not even. I mean, you see it the Overdose Awareness Day, man. 300-something people in attendance. You know, how many more didn't show up? How many more are affected by this? You know, because we are in the middle of a really big problem, not in our community, but the United States as a whole. You know.
Yeah, it wasn't just those people that were standing there that were affected. You got to think about all the balloons that went up for those people.
Yeah.
That weren't able to be there, you know.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So how does it make you feel being in this the role that you play in the things that you do?
Well, it's just really important to me. You know, I'm an overdose survivor myself. If it wasn't for Narcan, I wouldn't be here. And then on top of that, like, I've lost family members to overdose, and you know, it's important to me because we can help stop some of it. And like Cameron said, sometimes the best way is education and just getting the word out there, and it's not going to spread itself.
I like that.
I mean, even if you can't reach a big group of people by standing in front of them or anything, you can always use social media. So social media is like a good and bad thing, but I think social media for like education wise, to a certain extent, can be helpful. So you know, just one little Facebook post could go a long way.
Good. It's all about that effort, right?
Yeah, can definitely be used for good.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I appreciate you guys coming on and talking about the hub a little bit, and you know, I got to know you guys both a little better, and we're going to continue to work together and battle this crisis together and continue to affect change. So
thanks, guys.
And
really.
and Cameron, maybe you'll go to the gym one day. You know, that might be a good idea for you. I feel like you look like you're kind of healthy, but if you went to the gym a little bit, you might be able to put on some muscle. No, I'm just messing with him. I see him at the gym all the time. All right, check us out on YouTube or listen to our audio versions on Apple, Google, Spotify, Podbean, Amazon Music, and as always, stay grateful.
If you or someone you know is struggling with addiction or in recovery and needs guidance, speak with Turning Point's team of peer support specialists by calling 270-444-3621. You are not alone, and we are proof that recovery is possible.